All right, aloha, ohana. So we are just tuning in today on January 5th to do some debriefing and bring up to speed Carly in this beautiful opportunity that we have to come into collective agreement and coherence and coming into community together with Hale OHANA, a place that we saw out on 240 North Holokai Road in Haiku. This piece of property is on 2.5 acres, has multiple units, a larger house with 6 bedrooms and 5 3/4 baths, and then another house that is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. In the large house, there's an upper unit that has large kitchen, large open area space like dining, living room space, 2 bedrooms in a bathroom in the upper part of it, and then in the lower part there's another 2-bedroom, 1 bath with another kitchen unit, as well as and living space. It's basically a whole other 2-bedroom location underneath. There's also another 1-bedroom, 1 bath with living space and kitchen on the other wing, and as well as an office space with laundry. Then in the second house, it's a full 2-bedroom, 1 bath inside, and then an outdoor shower that we get to see with more detail, because there's currently residents that are on there are currently moving out in the midst of that. So that's briefing. There's a enclosed pool with a wrought iron fence all the way around it, creating a safe space so that if we have keiki, they can't just go and fall into the pool, or any animals or anything like that. And there's many coconut trees, banana trees, lemon, lime, lilikoi, and tons of room on this property. Again, it's 2.5 acres. Lot of space for growth, for development. There's 6 vehicles on the property, 5 of which are currently running. There's 2 trucks, 2 cars, a mini electric car, and a giant military apparatus with a trailer to go along with that, as well as a what's the name of the tractor? Oh, excavator, as well as the excavator. There's also a tool shed that has an abundance of tools inside of it, and another washer and dryer. And there's another bathroom and outdoor kitchen that are attached to the larger unit. So there's literally 5 kitchens on the property. And essentially everything that is on the property currently comes along with the asking price of 1.8 million. And there's a gulch in the back of the property that adds another component where it's totally open space for beautiful, like terrace farming opportunities in that, and just much more space to grow. So I think that's the upload and what we've seen, and obviously open space. If anything that I missed out that Brother Keenan would like to add to that and what he's seen. We took pictures and video of the property when we were there yesterday, and it's It's available for purchase as well as a rent to own, lease option to buy. Is the opportunity also presenting itself from that level of exchange. And so we're here today to just kind of continue to look at what types of how we can really bring this in a joyful, co-creative way, where essentially it's a winning situation for all parties coming in, and that everybody's needs are met and desires are there and met, and then see if we would like to move forward. And with that, I'm all in. With that check-in and complete. Oh.
I have a question. Yesterday in the circle gathering, it was brought up about zoning things with the property, that it was zoned agricultural. So I suppose I would like to know more about what that means. If in that case, can you set up a healing center where people could come to on land that is agricultural? Or do we have to try to do everything under the guise of that? Like where sort of, yeah, questions in that regard, like what can be done there based on the zoning? Yeah.
Good question. I'm gonna add something in because the audio on this is it's hard to hear you currently, but I think I can join in and give us. Okay, Carly, can you hear us all right?
I can, yes.
Okay, cool. So we got audio on the phone, video on here, and yeah.
So thank you for that lovely start, Jenna. And so I hear that, Carly, you have a question in terms of like your needs, or what is your intention right now?
My intention is to discover whether or not like an actual healing center can be made there, where, you know, people could be using, say, the medicines, for instance, being made, be used, you know, nutrition stuff because we're growing food there, massages because Ya and I are studying in body work, you know, maybe Watsu. Like, are all those things allowed? Can we actually set up a place that we have people come to there for healing work on property that is zoned agricultural? That's my question.
My instinct says that yes, anything in the realm of healing, you know, the agricultural, the healing, and the education can all like be very much of the intentions and wrapped up underneath the what it's, you know, zoned for. It's in a location too that, you know, the attention that would be there, there's less attention that's going to come from that, you know, any, you know, negative attention, especially with our positive intention.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel totally good that all of those things that we can do. I was kind of imagining even with like the pool area space, like building out some like massage huts, you know, and turn that into like almost like a spa where we have the pool, jacuzzi, you know, we can have ice bath experience in there and have like a couple, you know, 2 to 3 massage huts, you know, all in that location.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I mean, your question is really specific. It's my instinct says yes, but the fact is we don't know, because I think that we would need to actually like research that and figure out like what the legalities are. So I put that on here. So that's just you know, there's a lot of questions that we have, and so this is all part of, you know, like what we get to do. So I hear that like on I think that this question is more on your side because it's what, you know, you want a healing center. And of course, I think a lot of us do as well. I know I do, and I'm sure Yad does. So yeah, I think that it's a great question. My instinct says absolutely, because there are tons of healing centers on agricultural zones, from my understanding and my experience. So I don't see anything, and the owner is already on board. He's already like super green, and you know, he lives in Washington, and he's a, you know, quote unquote, you know, liberal Democrat or whatever, and you know, all his views are sort of programmed with the whole Agenda 21
Yeah.
green planet thing. But regardless, he would be okay with you know, with a healing center on his property. So in terms of like whether or not it's okay, the land says yes. Likely the owner would say yes. Likely it would be legal. So it's basically a yes.
Beautiful. Yeah, that, I don't know anything about zoning, so that's why I was asking, because when I heard that, I was like, oh, are there, you know, limits around that? And so since none of us know the legalities, it makes sense to just know. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah, so it's a future question that we get to research.
Okay. That's it on my end. Thank you.
Okay. So what I would like to do is I really want to continue a conversation that I was having with Jonah, and it was around taking what's there already, and then even like what could be there with very little effort or very little resources, and just assuming that we could get it right, and maybe putting them in a list, maybe not, but thinking about all the things that we have, and then sort of alchemizing something like an operation for people. So one of the things that we were already talking about was like the car situation, and creating like a you know, like creating like a need list where we would talk about all the things this application needed to like manage the car situation, and then manage like kind of the tools and all the resources that we have on the land, like in terms of like a community, a collective community. So like the idea that we had was, oh, you know, it would the app would need like some kind of like check-in system where when a car is driven out, you know, there's a status for that car that says, you know, out or in or whatever, you know. And it doesn't have to be like too totalitarian. Maybe it doesn't necessarily matter where it's going, though it would have it would be nice to have a note about like who took it, maybe, right, or something like that. But yeah, just so something like that, and kind of listing out like all the different things that we would need in terms of like creating a system to organize all the things. And then in that conversation was also like, given that system, you know, like in connection to that system, like could we use all of these things, like the 5 kitchens and the 2 cars and 2 trucks and military vehicle and the space, and the full set of contractor tools and the lab space for, you know, with Ishmael's thing, and could we like figure out how that all works together?
I just had an idea. Maybe you guys have thought about it, maybe not. But with that app that you create, potential income can also be made off of those things if we were to rent out that equipment. So that would be useful, say like Fohay or people we know, or someone's coming into town and needs a car to rent, or there's just work equipment tools that they don't have, or someone needs to, host a class in the kitchen where they're teaching a class on nutrition that's somewhere outside of, just all those different things. So we can think of ways to use the resources we have in that way that are already there. So that was just a thought that came to mind.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so using what's already there to make more resource to coming into the place, like there's a lot of that already. I mean, there's food growing there. There's the potential to plant more food pretty easily and just get on that right away when we first get there. So it's sort of
well, let's go into that really quick then.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna get another page for this because I have the notes for the section on like this system that's providing what we need in terms of like management needs. And then there's this idea of using the tools to create more resources.
Yeah.
Which is I think you just coined that. So I really like how you phrase that. So I'm gonna say resource generation from existing tools. And Jonah just stepped out. Oh, okay.
Another thing that I've heard come up in conversation a lot is there's a real intention to give back to the Native Hawaiians and like bridge gaps there. So what else just comes to mind with all of those vehicles and stuff like that is, offering things to them for free, like the ability to just help them out and, set up systems where they can have free access to things.
Okay. Great. So let's go into food.
So something I just want to bring into on that note. This is where the system is going to be really important. And there's the supporting the Native Hawaiians in the sovereignty movement and the regeneration of the land, and the healing of the people and culture, in terms of and I think all that can be initiated from this base camp, especially with the folks that like I'm imagining who will be like involved. This is our superhero base, our Jedi Alliance. Like this is what we're doing, and how we're really healing and helping in the community. How we're really showing up in the community. I'm a bit hesitant because around our like the resources there, we're gonna need like a orientation, initiation, and bringing people up into a level of frequency, of conduct before like lending out things. Because from my eyes, it's there because of the trauma that's taken place. There's a lot of Native Hawaiians that are not in a healthy space. They're mentally, physically, like the care for their own land, their own property, their homes, like, is like I walked around and delivered, during the candidacy election period, delivered a lot of like went home to home, And the houses that were in shambles and not taken care of, most of the people that were in stewardship over those homes were Native Hawaiians. So I just want to bring that in into like, you know, that it's not about the Hawaiians or us, like anybody on that level of being like in a space of it being this like looking at it from a trying to put people into a category, but just that we need to create something that there's great care within our community and core and how we're caring for. And if we are to lend resources out, you know, that same care is will be present.
Yeah. I want to, I want to just kind of redirect where both of you are coming from too, and I appreciate that reframe, because I think that's good for Carly to hear, as well as myself. Carly's genius is that she gives ideas, and having worked with her, there's this bit of information we actually just worked out ourselves, which is that a lot of her ideas are very genius, but they're very subtle, meaning that like it's not helpful to apply like external context to the ideas that she gives. The ideas that she gives are very from like a really out of context place, right? So for instance, like I wrote down free access for the Kanaka. Now that idea is genius in and of itself, but it lacks context, right? And where your mind naturally goes and where my mind went a lot of times when we would do stuff like this is I would be focused on the context. But she is able to give really great ideas but they don't have context, and they don't need to necessarily, because we can plug in context to them later, right? So I want to just present that to you, because that's actually where her genius is. So she's going to be giving a lot of really beautiful ideas, but they won't necessarily have the kind of context that you're talking about. And in this particular conversation of like, you know, a business brainstorm, we don't necessarily need to deal with it. You know what I mean? Because her job right now is just to give us non-contextual ideas that when we plug in, we can figure out how they can work for us. But they likely will work, because that's kind of where her genius is.
Got it.
Cool.
And Gabriel, to go on what you just said too, what Jonah just did really helped for me at the same time, because he reflected context back for me that I don't have because I'm not there, and there's just a lot I don't know about what's happening in previous, you know, things. So and hearing that, what I like got myself from a summary of what he was saying is that it might actually be more useful to just instead extend outreach to communities who need it, using the resources we have and being present there ourselves. And that they might really need the healing resources of like massage and just like actual healing more than anything, from what he said. So that was just sort of what I got, is like they might need the actual just free access to more of the healing services, maybe, or pro bono, or like some way to just help them even in that way. Came to my mind when I heard that. So,
yeah, and that really also speaks to it, because from my observation of being here, in terms of like the resources that we were kind of speaking to, like cars and tools and like that kind of stuff, there's an abundance of that. It's all over, you know, like there's a bunch of cars and a bunch of tools and a bunch of stuff on a house, you know, in a place. So that's there. But the caring for it is the part that is where I'm like, it's a mess, because there's healing that needs to take place to come back into the reverence of self, the care for self, the confidence in self, the return and reminding of who we are, where we come from. That I see like the healing services and the outreach, you know, part of it really supporting that bridge, you know, bridging that in an integrated healing practice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, so while it's still somewhat warm, let's go into food.
Yeah.
So you were talking about food, Carly, and yeah, like with the food thing, again, we have 5 kitchens, a full set of contractor tools, 5 working vehicles, including a military vehicle. We're on an ag zone. There's space to grow more food. There's a gulch with terracing. And then there's already, I'll add 100 fruit trees. There's already 100 fruit trees there. So with food, the idea is resource generation from existing tools. Well, okay, so then definitely we could use what's there for ferments and tinctures, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ferments and tinctures. I'm thinking distribution, maybe somehow, you know, gathering like, but how would that work out? Would it be like distribution to tribe, and it would almost be like a CSA where, you know, tribe just throws like $20 to us or something like that? Or like, how can you see that working? Because I don't think it's 100 fruit trees and a few cars with a few people just coming in with all of our own kind of business things happening. I mean, we would either need to set it up to where other people come in and and we just organize a whole business, you know, Hale OHANA, you know, food or whatever, Hale OHANA CSA or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And like without necessarily making it official, but just like giving it a name, giving it a form, and then maybe, you know, doing it kind of low, you know, small kind for a while. We could do it like that, you know, and someone could manage that, or we could even have some tribe come in and they could manage it, and, you know, we could figure out the profits and get Ishmael on creating that business, because since he's like, by the way, so Ishmael has created like 36 businesses, so he's the mind in terms of like, okay, this is how you create a business fast.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, does anything come into mind?
For whatever reason, I had a vision of us having some sort of website at some point for for our farms, and so selling the stuff from there came to mind.
Oh, cool.
Selling. I also was just to clarify. So selling stuff directly from Hale OHANA.
Yes.
There's okay.
Yeah, like if we, however we decide, I'm sure in time this part will take time to come up with, but I'm sure at some point we'll want something to represent everything we're doing. Like there'll be some general system that represents all the other systems, right? And under that, if we have a website or some presence where people can go and learn about what we're doing, the classes, all the different things, there could also be links there to go buy products that we produce.
Yeah, I would like to refocus this towards, because today is not a good day for long-term planning.
Got it.
And so I would like to just refocus this again to like, let's just assume that we have the land right now and we want to do something right now.
Planting food first to me.
So, but I mean, but this is resource generation from existing tools. So meaning that like we're talking about food, we're talking about how there's already 100 fruit trees. Yes, I mean we could get into like growing, which is, and I'll put that, actually I'll say growing food as a whole another thing, which involves sprouting and a bunch of other stuff that we could do with the existing seeds. But right now we're on sort of food. I'll say like exchange or giving. I'll say giving / exchange.
So I don't know how much food production is happening on those trees. I don't know if like there's a big excess that could be taken to farmers markets. I don't know if, so that's one option, but like I said, I don't know context of that for sure. The other thing is products can be created with some of the fruit. I mean, food products can be made too and traded, like you said at first, just sort of within the local community, but maybe there's things that can be made out of some of the fruit growing.
Yeah, I think out the gates, whatever's being produced on the property, you know, that we measure, obviously what we would like to first keep within, you know, so that we're you know, working, okay, let's keep within, and then anything that's that's over. So like if the cup is full always at our house, then it will, whatever's overflowing from Hale OHANA will go into the gifting and exchange, you know, process. So like that can look like, yeah, distributing through the multiple farmers markets that are already out there, you know, where we can look at that being another part of the business strategy, is setting up where we have like a you know, Hale OHANA tent, you know, and a team that's part. And it may not be, again, like what Keeney was saying, is this being kind of a superhero headquarters. It may not necessarily be, you know, us, or it might be one of us or something that's stewarding that and teaming up with somebody that comes to mind is like Shirtless Dave, who's got a really brilliant mind when it comes to this, the farmers market. He knows the fauna and flora here really well. He's like climbs the coconut trees. He's the kid who's mushing up the food, you know what I'm talking about, you know, and he would be fully like about that, you know, to take some leadership around this and supporting the distribution of food. And even the layout of the place, there's like the driveway in, and then there's this circular path where like people come in, they can drive around, and we can load them up, and they just circle out and drive right back out. You know, so we could totally distribute, you know, anything that we're producing at Hale OHANA very easily to people that want to pick up and create a whole business model out of that.
So for me, like what I hear is what I'm seeing is ferments and tinctures, potentially like an easy cart website being thrown up, an overflow basket, or, you know, sort of not, it won't be a warehouse because it's not that big, but it's not that much stuff, but like an overflow like container basically, and then a Hale OHANA like tent at the market, we'll say market tent. So realistically, with 100 fruit trees, so like, okay, you see, like you have this one tree, which is actually, this could count as like maybe 2 trees, the mango tree, because it's an older tree. But you also have the 1, 2, and I don't think you guys ever use these, and the one in the back doesn't really produce either. So I'm just gonna say like 2 papaya trees and 2 mango trees. So with 2 papaya trees and 2 mango trees, you know, you have like fruit popping off every now and then, right? It's like every other week or something like that. You if you kind of would divvy up everything, right? So that's 4. With 100 trees, let's say 30 are producing. Like let's just split it up through the year, right? Let's say like 25 are producing here, 25 in the summer, 25 in the winter, 25 in the fall, whatever. So 30-ish are producing. So, you know, every other week, about 4 times 30, which is like 120. So you would get, you know, technically a good round of like maybe around 100 fruits for a bi-weekly market. I'm just like, I'm good at like kind of like estimated numbers. So like maybe around 100 products for a bi-weekly/weekly market, right? Maybe, depending on the state of the trees and like what we do with them and stuff like that, right? That would be something we need to go into. So and then we're talking about an overflow basket. So then like we have 8 people, and then we have a garden. That would take all that fruit. There would be no overflow.
Yeah, I agree. I think for right now, I think what's produced on the land will produce enough for who's staying on the land.
Yeah.
You know, if we want more, we're gonna have. That's gonna be. I see this again more in the long range. Long range being, you know, in a year we can be, you know, in overflow.
Right.
But what we can do is what we're talking about right there, you know, something we were already moving forward in is tying in with all the other farms. So now we have vehicles, you know, and a team, right, to like drop in and go to the farms that are out in that area, especially, and go around, and like if they have overflow, you know, of food to support that distribution and start to work that currency, you know, was just being a resource to them. Hey, do you know, coming to them and asking them what, you know, what they need. Do you all need support, you know, with harvesting, you know, do you need support with cultivating?
What'd you say?
Oh, sorry, I said excavators are always helpful to people. From whatever I found, those are not everybody has one of those, and those are often like good trades.
Yep.
Okay, so we have another thing. I just like I appreciate the jump arounds.
Sorry
No. Please don't be sorry. I appreciate the jump arounds. I'm putting excavator sort of busyness.
I have some other ideas that don't relate to the growing food part around utilizing kitchens whenever we're ready to go there.
Okay, kitchens. Okay, so I'll put that down. Great. And we can go into that as well. Yeah. If you just want to throw out the basic ideas, I can just put them on the list.
Okay.
But do you have more?
Well, I mean, when you're ready to talk about the kitchen stuff, I'll tell you all the ideas around kitchens.
Great.
So, yeah.
So for food, the thing is that like what I feel would be good based on like what we're talking about right now is I think the ferments in the tinctures is good, because we could make noni juice with a you know, an easy label, and just, you know, put them out for $5-10 or whatever. We could make just little bundles of fruit, just like small kind, you know, just like a bundle of like whatever, 50 oranges, 20 oranges, 30 oranges, whatever it is, you know, and like, you know, maybe even get little baskets here and there. We have a tribe of 250 people, so like I'm assuming that generators are just here and they're working with us, right? So we could I'll say small kinds exchange, and then we could make these little baskets, like gift baskets or something like that, with the fruit, and then just like again sell them like small kind exchange, like sell them at Scott and Sky's stands at their little market, right? Or assuming that we all like are just there, we just sell it at the market at the dance. We don't even need to go anywhere, right? So like that's something. So moving on, just to keep it flowing, I'm seeing something with food in the cars and somehow relating food in the cars. It could be like what you're saying with like getting together with other farms and stuff like that. And I'll say like OHANA farm network or something, just to put that on there as a note. And then let's just move on. Okay, so we have renting out things. Carly was really excited about kitchens, so we can go into that unless you have anything, Jonah.
Just choose one. Let's go.
Yeah,
which one we want to go, rent out or kitchens?
Yeah, so Carly, what do you got for kitchens? What's going on there?
Interestingly enough, one of the ideas I have is both rent out and kitchens together, and it ties into what you were just talking about networking with other farms. So there are 2 outdoor kitchens. And I know sometimes farms like to put on like events where they have chefs come in and cook their food and like do fun things like that, where they use a kitchen or they want to do a class, or, so that might be a thing to rent out some of our outdoor kitchens to other farms that we want to network with, possibly to use.
Where was
Or
the outdoor kitchen?
So yeah, really quickly on that, I know there's one outdoor kitchen. It's right next to the spaceship bathroom.
Oh.
That's where the kitchen was, right there.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah.
It's really small kind.
Small.
It's
Yeah.
not really like it would not be conducive to what you're
Okay.
sharing right
okay,
now.
got it. I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as I saw walking around, that was the only outdoor kitchen.
Right.
Was that one right there?
Okay.
And in the basically main house, there's 3 kitchens in the main house. There's one in the upstairs part of the main house, and then there's one in each of the bottom floor kind of units.
Yeah, exactly.
Underneath. So there's 3 there. There's the outdoor one, that small one, which is 4, and then the kitchen that's in the other ohana, which is 5. So I know that. So that's where the 5 kitchen count comes in.
Okay.
But the small one outside, as well as it being right next to the bathroom, I think works really well with like the dance church and other kind of events. If people want to come over and they have have stuff they want to make at that moment in time, they don't need to necessarily go into any of the living spaces to make some food. If we want to do an abundance of some kind of catering, which could be another model too, given we got a lot of cooks on hand, we have an abundance of kitchens to work with, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
but
I don't know that. Yeah, so that's what my
so like that would be probably for later, Carly. Like the only way that would be applicable is there's this, it's an awesome like kind of giant circle that goes in like a bathroom, and then there's like an outdoor kitchen right next to it, and we could potentially like paint something, build something, and like make it kind of beautiful and attractive, and people could like throw events or whatever. But I'm gonna just put that as like a later
okay
thing.
I 2 outdoor kitchens when I first heard the description, so that's where my head went with that. So
I understand. So was that all you had for kitchens for now?
I mean, if any one of us wanted to like host a vegan cooking class, there's a lot of people who don't know vegan stuff. So those of us who feel like we're good cooks, you could host cooking classes in there sometimes.
Totally.
There's also and also for kids, like we talked a lot about doing things for teens and kids. You could host those classes for the younger group. Then the making of, like, I love making banana bread, and if there are banana trees on that property, like that's just another thing that could be added to market type things. So any of us who like cooking and creating things out of food, we have 5 kitchens, like you said, to do that. So any catering or cooking or things we wanted to create in that regard, we have the ability to do so.
Yeah, they're one of the units in the bottom floor, that kitchen, the way that it's set up feels kind of commercial style. There's tons of like kind of this rack system, for holding a lot of like, the larger quantity, gluten-free, like whatever the flour, just all of the stuff, right, that we need to like, larger produce food, and then in the so there would be that for that kind of thing. And what you're speaking of like the cooking classes, the upstairs kitchen is large. It's really beautiful, and like in terms of setup for that kind of doing a class. And we were saying that one of the walls in there is not a structural support wall, has no structural stability in it, and can be easily removed, and it would open that kitchen space up even greater. And the way that the room is set up, there can easily be chairs and things set up around to like host a kitchen class in there easily enough.
Mhm.
So I love that idea, and I think that does definitely fit into the current infrastructure.
Yeah. I'm about to be gifted a GoPro also, and I'm getting more interested in figuring out like getting the equipment needed to do high quality videos. So anybody who wanted to do anything like online stuff, I think having a space set up in the house where we have, you know, something for anyone who wants to do online business stuff. There's probably a few of us online class stuff. We can have a good setup for that, and that could include the kitchen classes or, you know, whatever else.
Absolutely. That's great. You know, I think that's essentially like what I'm imagining just with the academy is it's an online. There's both in-person stuff, but it's just constant online knowledge, you know, being put out there in the field in all these areas. And with that too being said, like coming into a numbers part, there's what I was feeling into, you know, there's 8 of us currently in the field, and then there's 2 elders that are in integrated education, you know, field who are coming here specifically to jump on board into a lot of what we're speaking on, and they'll be here on tomorrow, moving here from Big Island. And so I was imagining like seeing how we can work out them into this, and then with the office space down below, that might be perfect for like Douglas. So then we would have like in-house on-house like website, you know, manager, like our media communications person, you know, dropped in, who's there, you know, so like just seeing it from like all the whole team. And then Liana, who she has a son, it's like 4 or 5 years old, I think he's 4. Kai, she's also in like the eco tourist, like adventure hikes and youth education format. She's been writing grants. She's been part of a lot of the orgs, and already has is working with a nonprofit in that arena. Forget what it's called, but the name itself like was like, oh, that sounds perfect for integrating. And this is what she's been dreaming of too in terms of living in community. If we added those 4 in there, we're ripe at 12. You know, it's like is holding that full template in council. And so like I think it'd be good to see too, just from infrastructure, how that would play out given what we've looked at, and see if like is everyone in a space of like, okay, where would we be living, you know, if we came in and wiped it out at 12 people. So there's a question that I have to look at the immediate now and coming in too, you know, and all the projects that we can collaborate upon.
Yeah, beautiful. So I gotta go use the restroom and get some water. And we're at the little bit over 15 after the hour. So I feel like we could definitely keep going towards 11 and after at least. So I'm just gonna take a quick break. I want to just bring the context back. So we're talking about research generation from existing tools. We're recording a Zoom, and this is going to be like likely everyone also in the group is going to watch this. And then the idea is that we're really just giving energy to what we could all do. right? So like things that we haven't talked about, things that we put down are food, renting out things, free access for the Kanaka and healing services and outreach programs, growing more food, excavator busyness, the kitchens, catering and such and so forth, online events and classes and by using the space. And things we haven't talked about are, you know, stuff that
I can add to that too. Or you go ahead.
I was just saying things we haven't talked about are like what Kylie's up to, what Ishmael's up to. We haven't talked about the dance church, or even, and I think that Sky and Scott are more like a unit on the dance church, but I know that Sky has her own thing also. So we haven't talked about that. And we also haven't talked about Ya and Carly either. So there's a lot that's here, right? So I'm just bringing that in to context. So I'm gonna go take a break.
See, I'll add, because I kind of started to create a bit of that list as well. So to add to what is there, we'd have eco-tourist adventures, ecstatic dance church, Maui Moop Monsters, the Jedi Academy. We can do a sweat lodge, workshops and playgrounds, arts and cultural projects, the edutainment space, yeah, and that's what I have on one side. I did put in the healing center proponent of it. You know, we could add in the you know, massage and body work. And to go in and like into that share too, Carly, like specifically like, and I think this would be a good thing, is like specifically what is it that, what would we like to cultivate there on that at that whether it be that property or just in general. If we all came together in collaboration, what would we like to co-create and bring to the market? So like, what would we like to take lead on, you know?
Can you rephrase the question that you're asking me?
Coming from the standpoint of like imagining we have a space. Let's say it's this space specifically, since we're speaking on that. Okay, so Hale OHANA is happening. We're all living together in community. What specifically would if there were one thing we were going to put our efforts and energy into, what would that be? Right? If we were to take lead on one project.
When we first get there, like, what do we go on, you mean? Like, what's the go project?
Yeah. What's the first project? Like, want to fruit from this tree?
That's a good question. Take some pondering on that one. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind, honestly, was just our cohesiveness as a group is going to be the first project. Is getting us all on the same page, coming up with, you know, some sort of group agreements, and just gelling with each other. And then my thought is that because we all have individual, like, there are group things we're going to want to do together, but then there's individual focuses. So maybe it doesn't have to just be one, like maybe we do our individual things, but then we come together as a group to do one particular thing at the get-go. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I know that the people who already have things that are established going on, for instance, Scott and Sky already have their established thing. So it makes sense to support what's most established first while the other things are building, and build from what we have going on now.
Mhm.
So I think supporting them, especially because they already have such an established community, and that'll play a big part in what we have going on too, and bringing people to be exposed to the space. Yeah, that's going to be a big part of, I think, just getting that whole thing rolling.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to speak to that really quickly because that brings up something else came in when we were going around. You know, Scott was sharing that there was a thing around the proximity of neighbors. So one thing is, one side, the neighbor is, whose name is Gabriel. He is very focused in on growing food and cultivating fruit trees and herbs, which is awesome, right? Very much in alignment where there can be a beautiful collaboration also there. On the other side, neighbor, it's actually a home for sale. So, you know, keeping our eyes peeled and ears open, like if there, you know, it'd be awesome if even more another group and tribe were to purchase that place, and then we like secure like that whole area. And but and then the last piece of that is with the dance church. The reason why I bring up the neighbors is the noise. So Scott was talking about, you know, investing into the headphones.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
right, so that could be something that, like, with, you know, we've already opened up that channel a bit with Serena,
Yeah.
you know, and seeing if, like, you know, we could get, they have like 300 of them, but if we could even, you know, get 100 of them, because right now the dance church isn't any more than that. I think that would probably be a cap, you know, is like 100 people, you know, we cap out at that we can already, we have that within our community right now to, you know, keep it Pono and not come in and blow up the neighborhood right out the gates.
Yeah.
So I'd like us, supporting what we have going.
Yeah. It seems like having conversations with the neighbors, like maybe even previous to making decisions, might be smart. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's all a part of it. This,
yeah.
Like, again, this is not a conversation around like tasks.
Yeah.
Or details. It's really just to get excited about, to create some excitement, and create, like, you know, some form to take what we have, to take the ether and create some kind of structure and create some kind of form, what it could be like as a presentation for ourselves and really for everybody else who isn't currently in this conversation, you know, because that's the idea, is that there's a lot going on, and some people, like you mentioned, the dance church has some trepidation around like the sounds and stuff like that. So it's like, well, what could we do about the sound? So the thing that comes to mind with the sound is literally, we have the tools to create, Carly, what's that thing, the Buddha thing behind you? What's that called again?
It's a screen. It's like
screen. We have the ability to literally create screens. We have all the tools necessary, and all we would need is just a little bit of resources, in terms of like wood and other things, to create like our own sort of mini, what's it called? Amphitheater.
Yeah, agreed. And that's like, I think we build a dome out there that would be the amphitheater, imagining like the experience out at Burning Man, super popular, Android Jones, right, traveled around, you know, and that, like, but like that would be like very much a learning space, because we can project whatever we want to. You know, we can bring somebody in from anywhere in the world and project that image, teaching a class on anything inside of that space. It could also be used for yoga. So it'd be like a multi-purpose facility essentially. And we having all of those resources. Bruce Open has a dome right now, that we can use before, while we build our capital to be able to purchase another one.
Now, and again, this is what I'm saying is like, so, like with the screens, it would be very like we would already have the capital. It's not a whole lot, and it would just take getting the tribe to just come together, use the tools, build it up, put it up against where the trees are. And then bam, you have an extra sound buffer. So it's something, right? So that's an option. And then, like according to your resources, it wouldn't take a whole lot for you, some phone calls here and there, some other people, get some Android drones and some other Burning Man people, throw up a dome, and that's the spot, right? And then put some extra sound protection on the dome too. And then there you go. And we have the whole thing, we have a yoga studio and the dance thing and whatever else we want to use it as, right? It's like a multi-purpose. But so we have both of these things somewhat available. The dome thing is a little bit later, but even just in the next 60 days, we could throw up the screens. So that's something.
We could throw the dome up in that time.
Well, see, there you go. So
I think Bruce B. Game will ask him.
Yeah.
Because his dome's, it's just sitting.
It's just sitting. Yeah.
So we ask him, hey, can we throw the dome up over here?
Yeah. Yeah. And who knows, whoever else could add to that add some magic and heaven to that project, right? So that definitely feels like that's an A+ for the dance church. And
is there parking? Available parking there for a lot of people to come?
Yeah, we were talking about that. There's definitely area for parking, and then we also, with the big military vehicle, we can use it as like a magic school bus basically to shuttle people from a couple 2 to 3 different locations that people can drive in. And what we're going to do is we're going to charge for parking. So there's incentive to carpool, basically, one, right? Because everyone can split the cost for the parking, and incentivize, if you're not carpooling, just pull your car into one of the pickup spots, be there by this time, and you'll have a ride. So we'll map that out, so then we can just shuttle people in, which will be the best way of going about it. Minimizing the amount of car traffic for multiple reasons, for neighbors. Having a park on the lawn too, is going to put a lot of stress onto the grounds. So less is more in that.
I like the silent disco idea because I honestly feel like with what we're doing, we might want to have a deeper conversation around the underground portion of Underground Ohana Party, and maybe make that more official than less. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things going on, and there's the stability of Ishmael's work, and then there's kind of revolutionary thing we're doing. So bringing that to the table would be helpful, and it could vary because they live across, because technically this is across the street. Maybe it is Bruce and Satya's place, so they could easily just do it there too when they want to do the big one, the public one with sound and loudness, and then over here would be the silent disco one. You know what I mean? So that's also something to bring up. because it sounds like we're no one has contact with Alan really, other than Serena, but I don't they're not necessarily in partnership mode right now. But at the very least, we're in contact with Fuzzbox that knows Alan, so right. We can somehow get a hold of that. And so at least there's some connection there, and that would be something to maybe push, with like going along. But anyway, I think this is good for the dance church for sure. I feel like, and also actually one more thing, which is what I had in mind, which was, if we put a little bit of resources together, I could contact Fohei and like see what he has going on. I could contact John and see what he has going on. But technically, we could just put a whole layer of trees, more, to bring like more of a sound buffer. And what I was telling Yasuko is I imagine eventually, like for the planning, we would need to come out about 8 feet, like maybe 6 to 8 feet from where the trees currently are, where the road is. Carl, this is more for Jonah because he was there, but and for everybody else. But this is like 6 to 8 feet from where the road is, and then maybe around that, like 4 to 8 feet from the wall, the fence, and put like basically a whole nother layer of trees, like stacking either one layer or two, right next to the tree barrier that's already there. And because if we got canopy trees that were like full on, they filled the gap, that would automatically take care of the sound. Part of the reason why the sound would be an issue is because there's not even a full gate. Like there's just like when you go back, it's just space. There's a little tiny fence. So like closing that gap with a bunch of trees, number one, and then putting like bamboo, which is a perfect sound barrier because it just bunches together and it just breaks the sound all together. That would be like my biggest priority in terms of like long-term planning, right? But that's not necessarily part of this conversation, but there are things that we could do, and I'll put that maybe long-term, but there are things that we could do for the dance church to make that steady.
Right. Cool.
So they host other events besides dance church, right? Like there's yoga, I think Sky does some healing also herself, correct? And then
they cacao ceremony.
Yeah. Okay. And then what is the name of the healing work that Sky does? Do you guys know?
Mm-mm.
The name of it? No.
I thought there was a name, but maybe not.
I'm not too sure.
I mean, they do like sound healing. They do like full on sound healing experiences as well.
Yeah, they also do kirtan.
Yeah.
Okay. So all these other things, like how can we support them in those other things also? Do you know what I mean? Besides the dance church, like so. And then I'm thinking the kitchen could even, don't they sell those cacao beans, if I remember right? The kitchen would give the ability to do all sorts of fun things with cacao beans, is my thought.
Yeah, with cacao pods, they need to be processed.
Mm-hmm.
To sell the beans. They need to be the white film needs to be washed and then dried. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we could have a system for that. That would more be like the drying would be outside, so we would need to like get a little outdoor rack. That wouldn't be a problem. And then yeah, a lot of the processing would be in the kitchen. But that's already included in food, because that's really detailed. But I have food and kitchen, and yeah, there's tons of stuff already on there. I'll guess what I'll put for kitchen is I'll just put like food processing. But yeah, totally, because they have cacao ceremonies, and they have, I don't know what their source of cacao is right now, but I'm sure they got it kind of locked down. We could grow cacao trees there too, so that's definitely all there. And then the kitchen would totally support them. And then yeah, for the kirtan and sound healing, is going to be a similar thing, what I feel, to the dance church, which is we need a dome.
Yeah,
now
the sound healing sounds perfect.
Yeah. Now going into what I might do actually is like I might just star all of these. Dance church,
You know, the dome could be used for
cow
workshops,
ceremony.
or like for, you know, couples massage workshops and for yoga workshops and for whatever workshops. That'd be a great space.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna combine all of those into this. I'm just gonna say like event structure.
Yeah, there we go.
And then yeah, this is definitely a resource generation from existing tools, because basically what we're looking at is a dome, and even if it's not the dome or an addition to the dome, even, we have literally all the tools that we need to make like a super easy like Burning Man PVC situation, like straight up, like buy a bunch of PVC pipes, get the tarps, done deal.
Monkey hut.
Monkey hut, like all the way, bro. Like for real, like we have everything we need to create like a bunch of monkey huts even. So like that's a big deal, and that could be done easily with Tribe to come in, right, with a little bit of resources to come in and do that. So I'm definitely putting that down. And yeah, the event structure could hold all of it. Cacao ceremony, kirtan, it could hold the dance church, it could hold the yoga. You know, what I'll do is just start putting it all on the list. But yeah, yoga. Well, it could hold even some of the classes that we're doing that aren't necessarily like in the kitchen. Yeah, so a dome monkey hut situation, super easy, temporary. You know, maybe even get some kind of like soundproof material to put in the monkey hut or the dome. You know, I hear egg cartons are super cheap and easy solution. You know, they don't work great, but they work, you know. So yeah, that's something. But the event structure for sure. See the event structure we can use. Oops. Thank you. Make sure to put my glass on that.
FYI, I'm leaving like by 1:15, so I'm gonna be eating in just a few minutes. I'm heating up some lunch, so I'm still present, but I have to multitask.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I figured we'll actually end at the top of the hour.
Okay.
So thank you for joining.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm just gonna be up and moving and getting those things ready. So, but I can hear, and I'm present. I'm just gonna see if it's almost ready.
Yeah. So yeah, with the event structure, I feel like, yeah, dome, monkey hut, we could use the tools that we have, we could use the cars that we have, and some maybe even some of the resources from maybe the alchemy, maybe some of the resources from the ecotourism, maybe some of the resources from the vegan cooking classes and youth cooking classes, because we can do those. We don't need anything for those, right? I starred ferments, tinctures, Ohana Food Network, bakery and food modifications, youth cooking classes, and vegan cooking classes, because we don't need any of those to start. So basically, like, food is our automatic go-to, right? And I think there's even more than we've come across, but we only have like 3 out of 8 of our team right now, you know. But like, I feel like that's like, food is the way to go. Based on everything that we just talked about, I feel like food is our go-to. Like, if we focus on food, we can just start generating resources immediately. And I would be interested to see, because I think even Ishmael said something similar already when we were talking about this, without any of this happening, and because he's just really in on it. So I feel like the food is the way to go, and then we could use some of those resources, build the event structure, build the dome, build the monkey huts, and then just start pumping those out too. Yeah.
Well, we don't, and we have the resources. We can go right into ecotourist adventures,
right?
Like with the apparatus that's there, we can already start that up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can start up our.
Oh, that's right, with the cars.
Yeah.
With the cars, that's right. Using cars, we basically already have the ecotourism. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we just need to, so, okay, cool. Yeah, so using cars. Okay, so that's easy. I'll just say teachers.
Some, you know, look into like a wrap on it, you know, a sign, so we can actually like.
Oh yeah, totally. Deck it out.
Yeah.
Logo
the cars up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that, like we're official business.
Of course.
You know, Jedi Alliance already as a business, we'll just drop the logo on it,
and then it's a sick logo.
What's going on here?
It's a super healthy logo, rather. Yeah. Awesome.
So I'm hoping, just a little side note too, on like my timeline for when I hope to start doing the massage work again, is I'm hoping that I can be licensed in Maui within 3 months of being there. But I don't know how long when their tests are, so that might not happen. But as soon as I can get myself licensed there, I want to start in an official way. So that's going to be sort of like the only thing holding me back. Unofficially, I'm still willing to do trades and work with people. And, you know, I've been doing it for 15 years, so I'm not feeling, you know, I feel good about what I'm doing. So, but yeah, just to let you know, that's sort of, I want to get doing that as soon as possible. And until I'm able to do that, the healing work, I would love to be a part of growing food, cooking stuff, and, you know, yeah, just like getting land ready. And the thing I can start with right away, FYI, is teaching movement classes to children. Like, I would love to do some tap with kids or just basic movement. So the movement classes stuff I can maybe do before the massage. So that's just another thing I wanted to throw out there is, you know. I know.
Yeah, which is, that's a huge, I think that's, sorry, I don't want to go ahead.
I don't mean to focus on myself. I was just like mostly just trying to let you know where I'm at with that too, and then we can continue on with how to support everybody else.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you know, that's a huge market in and of itself as well. You know, from an economic standpoint, as well as the service provided, is to have a space where we can work with kids. You know, like there's not enough of that on this island, especially wholesome like schools grounded in, you know, that right there opens up another area where parents can be like, I can drop, you know, my kid can go somewhere where they're learning, you know, vegan cooking, and they're learning about their, you know, their health and taking care of their temples. You know, they're learning yoga, they're learning organic farming techniques, like, you know, like that right there is, I think that's another huge area of providing a beautiful service for the community and supporting the community in that way, and also supporting us, you know, in terms of like the bringing in the resources and revenue needed to for all the other projects and to maintain that. You know, music, art, dance, you know, classes, you know, like I said, all the classes that can come in that multi-purpose space and dome, you know, would be, we can really do a lot. We can really do a lot to help the community.
Yeah.
Cool. So
what about Ishmael and Kylie?
Yeah, I was just thinking about them. So before we go into them, I just want to recap. So like, we went into food, we went into kitchens, we went into online events and classes, we went into ecotourism, I'm starring that one too, because that's one we could do immediately. So like food and ecotourism, bam. Dance church also, you know, get some stuff set up there. We went into collaborating existing projects. And like doing what we could, creating a kind of you know, project management system where we all help each other, which I'm, you know, that's kind of what this is already doing. That's my field. Then the event structures in general, and things inside the event structures were creating domes and monkey huts, and inside the dome and monkey hut there would be yoga classes, cacao ceremonies, youth classes, tap dancing classes in general. For the Jedi Academy, kirtan, sound healing, and whatever else we want, including the dance church and silent disco. Maybe, you know, silent disco could be outside, so can the dance church. But yeah, so yeah, okay. So then for we do have alchemy products, which is definitely both on Carly's side, my side, but more specifically because he has the you know, he has the crux. He's already making products, which is Ishmael. And so Ishmael can use some of this stuff. He can definitely use like the noni and some of the papaya leaves and like various herbs. So he's already on that board. So I'll say like existing trees. We have the tools to deck out and add another, we'll say, Hale Lab addition. So we have the tools to create an addition already to that lab. Like the easiest thing would just be create an awning with a netting structure, and then maybe leveling out some of the, you know, creating like a wooden frame outside instead of concrete, just to have a level frame for tables. So yeah, create a lab edition. Could be easy enough with some nets and some wooding and an awning for like a temporary option, and then even like getting faux hay involved, you know, like, because what the cool thing about faux hay is like you figure out where you want the concrete and then you tell him and he just does it all in one shot. You know, so like as for later, yeah, that can definitely be put in. And then even just building out what I actually envision from that lab hallway is building another house from it, to be honest. And luckily I know how to do some of that, and there's other people in the tribe that can definitely work together, and we can all pan that out. So that's kind of what I saw for like the lab, is like we currently have the tools to build out something to make it a little bit greater than what it is. We can build a rack. So part of that addition is we can build a rack for him for all the tools. Build alchemy rack. I don't know if you guys are into that stuff. It's super awesome. I'm also kind of like a bio nerd, so like it's similar to like, you know, that just that beautiful structure when you have all your like herbs in like glasses in the cabinet, you know, it's like that, but like the like alchemical version. So definitely build a rack for the alchemy lab. Yeah, what else? I mean, number one, there's creating, I mean, there's, you know, I think he already has a running business. So there's like, I mean, we could easily do delivery with the cars. We can use the cars for delivery. Right? So we have tools, cars, the land.
Mm-hmm.
What is Kylie doing?
I'm unsure, to be honest. I know that she's heavily supporting Ishmael, but I'm actually unsure what her mission is. I know it's in alignment,
Okay.
but we didn't. Yeah, we're missing a lot of pieces. That's one of the reasons why what Sky said about meeting up was so vital, because we really just need to meet more and talk more.
Yeah.
Like we really need more information about each other, and we need more sharing and fun and excitement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really sure. I know that she's like super heart space, super empath, super psychic, incredibly intelligent. I'm assuming she could possibly even have some kind of technical background. Like that's what it feels like when I feel into it. But otherwise, I have no external conscious information about what's going on with her, other than I love her very much and she's awesome. Okay. So, but yeah, but I think that just on a supportive level, it's the alchemy thing. Okay. Oh yeah. Also, Ishmael can do business classes. So there's that. Yeah. So since we're at 15 under the hour, you know, we can get to wrapping up. So I want to bring attention what we've created this far. We've gone into food, ferments, tinctures, setting up potentially like an easy cart website, kind of like an overflow thing, which we put to the background, Hale OHANA tent, market, and getting tribe on that level, and like a small kin exchange. We didn't go into renting out things, but we did add that as like there would be some kind of rent out system that would also be producing income. But what it feels like is we'll be using most of the resources anyway for other projects, so that might be later as well. Free access to the Kanaka and outreach program. That's I'm gonna put later for all of these. I'm just gonna put like a big L for just knowing that these are just like further out. Growing food, that's also later, even though we can do that immediately. Excavator busyness, we can start that immediately, but we didn't go into that. But that's definitely something we can explore. Kitchens, catering for events, vegan cooking classes, youth cooking classes, bakery, food modifications, and food processing for the alchemy and other types of food products. I starred this. That's something to start immediately. So that's something that we can bring to the group when we meet with them, and when we all meet for dinner or whatever, is like the kitchen, bam, immediate resource generator, right? So that's number one. Immediate resource generator is the kitchen. Online events and classes using the space, that needs a website and stuff like that, but that can happen also. Ecotourism, I started that, bam, we're already in it. Get the tribe, get the people, get more teachers, right? We need more of what's his name, Kevin and Koa. We need a bunch of Koas, basically. We need to keep coming. We already got them, you know. So we have the cars now, so ecotourism is on a go. So that's like priorities are kitchen, ecotourism, dance church is a priority, and getting up the amphitheater. Actually, I take that back. Not dance church priority. The kitchen, the ecotourism, and the event structure for all the classes. The biggest thing that we went into is using that structure for literally everything. So once we have that structure up, it'll be we could literally have an event every single day, because that's what it looks like. We're talking about yoga, we're talking about business classes, tap dancing classes, Jedi classes, cacao ceremonies, kirtan, sound healing, and the dance, right? That's a full week right there. So getting that event structure up is like super key. So I feel like if we, and then also we talked about alchemy products and like extending that lab for Ishmael, and then just collaborating all together. So in terms of what to bring to the group, I feel like kitchens and food is number one. Ecotourism is another, and then getting up this structure is another. And those are like the three biggest things that I feel like we got from this meeting. It's like if we can all collaborate, like she was saying, and support the the alchemy with collecting the food, getting a system around that. We didn't go so much in the system stuff, but we can do that later. We can support the dance church and the alchemy, and almost literally everything else that we do by setting up classes, by putting up the dome, right? By putting up the monkey huts, right? And then even the monkey huts would be used for like food storage, right? And like bins, like proper like organization of bins and food and stuff like that. And like, you know what I mean? So I feel like looking at it, definitely the monkey hut and putting up the dome would be like number one. And then it just kind of all trickles from there. So that's what I have.
There's one person we didn't talk about, and I feel like we need to do that before we end, and that's anything that Ya has concerns about or needs, or sort of, she didn't.
Yeah, I feel like we did talk about her. because you and her are the same group, which meaning that like you're doing healing classes and you're doing healings, and those would essentially be in those monkey huts that we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, well, both the structure near the pool and the other structures like for dance and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Monkey hut massage.
Right.
Yeah. Right. That's a perfect structure for that.
Yeah, it really is.
Super easy. Set those
super
up.
Easy.
You know.
And we could find some awesome way to do it. Like, I don't know, add some Hawaiian flair, whatever.
We could monkey hut it up. I mean, with that, but then the foliage that we can just collect on the ground, we can super dial it in where it's like getting a massage in the jungle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly where I'm at. Yeah.
Palm fronds and like beautiful flowers. Like we could, it would be beautiful. We just need to get the structural integrity, sound.
Yeah.
Which I think would be really easy to do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think those are a great idea. For when it's not raining, outdoor spaces would be great to use, and for when it's raining, the monkey huts. So
we could. I mean, the thing with the monkey huts is like there's one right there.
Right.
I know. Like they're super easy to take to put the roof on and take the roof off. There's like so the space is the space, and when it's a beautiful day, we can have it open air, and we can set up like divisions just how it is right there. You can see where it's like just that one hut alone, you have 3 massages can happen.
Mm-hmm.
In that space.
Exactly.
And then the roof go on top of it when it's raining and we're still in operations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So this has been beautiful and wonderful. I am going to get on Google Earth and print out some things and also send some images to the WhatsApp group. We need to get Scott on there. I'll text him because he's not on WhatsApp apparently. But I'll text him as well. See what he can do. And Kylie, exactly. Which I haven't. Do you have her number?
Yeah, I have her number.
Oh yeah, make sure to give that to me so I can put her in the group.
Yeah, if you can also make us editors on there, because I was going to add her, but I didn't see that I was in the space where I can.
I'll have to do that then. Okay, I didn't realize. I guess you need to go in and manually add people, so I'll do that. I'll do that, and then that way, maybe we could put this recording on the WhatsApp too, if it's not too big, or put a link to it or something on YouTube, upload it to YouTube, and then that way everyone can get this idea and maybe draw out their own idea of what they would like. And I think what I'll do is I'll do some photoshopping and see if I can add some additions to the map, and kind of some boxes here and there just to get an idea of what things would look like. So that's kind of where I'm at. Any support on that, Carly?
With the Google Maps part?
Or just anything that we mentioned this far.
It all feels really good. I definitely think getting all of us into some chats together is very important. So just feeling the importance of that and getting all of our visions sort of together, because I'm sure other people hearing this are going to be like, oh, and
Yeah, exactly.
So hearing what those things are from those people would be great. So just finding a way to create that cohesiveness.
Great. Okay, cool. Well, this has been good. Thank you so much, Carly. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you guys. This is wonderful. Mahalo.
Yep. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
All right. Mahalo ke kua. Aloha.
Okay.